I'm back with the 03 Civic EM2 EX project. Carpet time. I'm going to swap the carpet and do soundproofing. I've already pulled the seats, easy enough. You've got your 14mm bolts, 2 in the rear underneath the little covers and the 2 up front, and then you're unplugging all of your restraint systems. This little guy is a pain in the butt. This pushes down here, but it's tight. It takes some finagling. Just don't break it. This one, you kind of do the this whole thing here slides to get it to release, and then these are just your standard weather packs with the little push buttons, whatever, push levers to unplug them. And that's passenger side. Obviously, driver's side doesn't have the weight sensor, so you've got one less. I'm assuming that's what that blue one is the sensor to see if someone's in the seat, so that airbag doesn't deploy unless there's a person in the seat. We're going to remove the center console. It'll be the same as if you're going to be pulling a radio or whatever, but I figured I would just go through this. We're going to start out with, you've got your screws on either side of the console, which are Phillips, so we're going to go ahead and pull those. The upper one is just a normal screw. The lower one that actually has threads like this. There, okay. But that's what the lower one is. It goes here, and your upper is that fella. So, and like I said, they're Phillips. So just set those aside. You'll be doing the same for the other side. After you remove both of those, then you're going to want to remove this rubber liner from out of your glove box. There we go. Pull that little fella out, and then you will see under there, oh look, surprise. Apparently, the things you find in a used car, that is basically what those lower ones look like when they haven't been exposed to God only knows what in the environment. You see one is still screwed in. Now, you can't just go yanking and pulling because this guy still has more fasteners underneath. You do want to pop this fella. It's real easy. It's just little clips. And then I have changed out my shift knob, but I believe, if I remember right, the factory one has a collar that pops up or down, I'm not sure, and then releases the boot from it. I've got to figure out a better way to retain that boot cover. Custom knob I got out of a automatic RSX. I want to run that off, and I'll be redoing the shift knob. And this blue stuff is just here temporarily. But yeah, I cut the threads in this to make it fit on here. You're going to want to pull this bad boy very carefully. It just has little retaining clips all the way around. So gentle pressure up, and that's going to expose screws down there and 2 in each corner. So here, here, down there, and down there. You're going to want to pull those out. This is why you don't go yanking on stuff ahead of time, because some people just tell you, oh yeah, pull that piece loose. Well, it's retained by these, and you'll just go breaking this stuff. So fished our screws out, and I've got one oddball, so I'll fix that before I put it all back together. Now you're going to want to gently pop these loose. You see they've got these little pins along the edge. Now, one thing of note, when you do pull your center console, there's normally little push pins in here. Mine are gone, but you're going to want to extract those. They're on either side as well. So you won't be seeing me do that step because I don't have them presently. Put your lid down, and then you can gently pull this back. Again, that piece is also just held by clips. Sorry, I didn't realize you were out of frame, but this just slides straight back to you once you get those legs loose. In my case on this, I have the fog light wiring that I'm going to need to undo, and you also need to undo the back of the cigarette lighter. Well, I had a little spring that popped out as I was moving that around. I'm not sure where or what he goes to, because that still works. My aftermarket fog light was easy. It was just pushing down here. This little guy has this piece right here. What I ended up doing is I lifted this little flap here because it's got that leg on it, and it came loose from the cigarette lighter. I'm assuming that little plastic bit goes into one of those holes. Anyway, that's free. We removed that little piece in front of the emergency brake. Now you're able to slide that to the rear, and with that clearance you can tip this up, sliding it slightly back, and remove the whole console. To get the carpet out, obviously you take the seats out, which are 14mm bolts, 14mm bolts in the seats, and then you can pull those out. There's little plastic covers. Just be gentle with those guys. Okay, to inject in, I said I'd go over the feet, and I totally forgot to go over the feet in the main video. I got all these at the junkyard because these were, I only had one on the car, and yeah, it was just easier to grab them from the junkyard. So excuse that they're dirty. These are the ones that go on the outside here. That's the one that goes on the inside, and this shield goes to the innermost side. The way they're on there is, you see they have these little nubs on the inside, and they have these little insert pieces. So what you're actually going to have to do is pull it out to free that, and wiggle it to free this, and it kind of comes this way. And I would do it for you, but because I have all the carpeting down now with all the crap underneath it, it really stands up really high, and it's going to be a cluster if I try and show you. But this would be your driver's side one that goes on the inside. These have the little feet as well on the sides there. They also have these little clippy things that go on that piece. They don't have anything that hooks on the bottom, but those little tabs go in those slots, and then the plastic pieces go on the rail here. So it's going to be similar on that. You'll have a little hole that those little plastic bits in here go on. So that is what you're looking at to remove them, and it does kind of hang up. You see that it's got the little teeth there, so you're going to have to believe you need to push down and pull to get that bottom part to free up, to come loose. Like I said, I'm going to have a heck of a time because my carpeting is raised due to all the soundproofing material. But I didn't want to forget to insert that in for y'all. There's also going to be a push pin here that you'll need to extract with one of the Y-shaped plastic panel tools. On the driver's side, again, you'll have 14. Seatbelt is going to be attached down there in the kick panel. That's 14. Again, one here, it's 14. When you pull these out, there's little push pins. If you just pull straight up, there's a chance you're going to break stuff because there's also push pins here. So go ahead and pop this way as well to get those panels loose. Now, the one I always wondered and never had a big enough kit to figure out the answer for was this guy. We've always pulled them using a flathead because they had a slot here, but it was tedious. Well, I just dug through my kit of bits. That worked perfect. Made it pull much easier, much faster. So just a little tip there for pulling carpet. Obviously you want to be careful when you pull everything around all the hardware. Once you pull this pin, this is going to flop forward. Now depending upon how, there we go, get them off those big old bolts. Depending upon how much drama you want to get into. This can all be removed as one piece by extracting all these harnesses, unplugging everything, and then getting the carpet out. But you can see they obviously laid the harness after the carpet was in. So I'm probably going to do strategic cuts on the carpet. It's what I had to do in the junkyard, just for the sake of time. You know, I could have been a complete jerk and cut all the wiring, but what if somebody needed it behind me? You're not going to see any of the carpet behind the console, or under the console I should say. As it is, I already had to pull it out from up in here. I wasn't taking the whole dash apart. It was actually already loose, so I don't wonder if somebody had been in there before me. But this little saddlebag looking thing, that's how the saddlebags used to go on the horses. Anyway, was across in the back there, and it was already tore, so no harm, no foul. Again, this carpet is garbage, so I'm probably just going to cut these to remove it, but I wanted to give you kind of a heads up. Now, if you're simply soundproofing and you get to this point, you don't need to be cutting stuff here. All you have to do is disassemble everything to this point and then take your carpet and lay it over, soundproof under, lay it back down, and then flop your other side over. So you could just simply do that with your carpet and flop it over. Now it's glued down in some places, and I don't know if that's weather that does that or if it's actually glued down from the factory. It looks like there may be a bead of it that they do here so that it gets a nice seal. And it could be people spilling, which is what it looks like that was. But you see, it just peels back. But mine have these. Not all cars have them. They have a little Phillips screw right there holding them in. That'll be the easiest thing to do, is to unscrew those, and then you'll be able to flop the carpet over. My word, this car is sticky. Jeez Louise. Okay, so it's going to be your procedure to pull those. So sticky, even the coin is hanging out. And again, on the other one, I'm going to pull that out. Now the second one out. So then all that just comes forward. You need to pull your seat wiring through. There are these little guys, and so that you know, if you don't have these, now you know how you can add them. You'll just need to make sure your car has these little inserts, or get them from the donor car or from Honda. If you're just soundproofing one side at a time, there you go. Now you got access. If you were doing your passenger side, you don't have to deal with those pesky little matte tie downs. Ooh, sorry y'all. See, it'll just flop over like that, and then you can access your floor. Remember the seat wiring. I'm just seeing a big white blob right now. Put your seat wiring over here. Be careful pulling that through. There's the carpet removed. Like I said, it looks like they may have put some butyl or something down right here to glue it down. The other car I had apparently had a little bit of water in it, so it was stuck in other places along the floorboard. So when you pull the carpet, just be careful so you can get as much of that white backing out with the carpet as possible. That is, if you're keeping said carpet, like if you're doing a donor swap from a junkyard. That makes this carpet not worth it. Not to mention how gross and stained it is. I mean, that's just awful. Nasty. Here's my new junkyard carpet. I prefer to do OEM just because it's got a much better fitment. Everything's already pre-cut. And the molds are correct. So when I was washing it, I had flattened all that out. But you can see it doesn't have the soda stains. It's got some ick, but the car had some rust spots in the floorboard. It's not 100% perfect in some spots, but oops. I don't know how much of that happened at the junkyard itself, but there's no holes, and this is a darn sight better. You can see just how gross my old carpet was. They give you these little bags of whatever for soundproofing that are shoved down in there, and then this for dampening. So I may stick some stuff up in there. It can't hurt. Yeah, that's essentially the short of removing the carpet. But for now, I got some scrubbing and vacuuming to do to get this clean and start on the soundproofing process. All right, just wanted to share that with y'all.